Right then, now we're sitting comfortably, then we will begin. Well, we won't begin, will we? Because we've got to do the preamble. Have to have a preamble. So we're back again, in the car again, I'm watching a man hit a bit of rock with a mallet, very aggressively as well. But yeah, so his mallet's springy, so it's kind of in a kind of enjoyable boingy way. And now two other guys have come along and moved a rock. So that's quite exciting, isn't it? So I'm opposite the building site, just watching one go by. Watching men with rubber mallets. Love a rubber mallet. You get a bit of spring back on them, don't you? And then I'd expect a load of people to go running past me at some point. Whether they do, whether they will, I don't know. But I expect it. So that's just the way it goes. So, yes, I feel like there should be stories, but I don't have any stories. Yes. Now, yesterday I did gorge myself. I suppose that's a word. It was unlimited slush puppy. Slush drinks. And it was bottomless unlimitedness. And my sons and I went for it. And we agreed, we agreed that I said they couldn't have one each because... And then they pointed out that it was bottomless and unlimited, and therefore they will only need one, and they would share it all, and therefore work their way through all the flavours. And I said, that seems like a really good deal, and I will join in to help aid the non-liked flavours. I've got a slushy hangover today. And then apparently it's free ice cream at lunch today at work, which is quite nice. So... I'm in work today just so I can have free ice cream. That's kind of my motivation, which is a bit sad if that's your motivation for work, I suppose. So yeah, so a few things happened. I've gardened. I've got no... Oh, now, yes. So I keep getting these emails from government petitions, and I might make a list of some of the titles, because they all sound a bit like band names or album covers titles. So I will harvest a few, and if I remember rightly, I will. Well, if I remember, full stop. Do I ever remember anything? That's the other question. I don't know. I just don't know. I really don't know. Anyway, yeah. So if I remember. I will do that next time, because I forgot to do that, because I don't remember anything. That's the problem. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, as they say, or not say, as the case may be. I've tried to pimp out this podcast with on Reddit. So if you've joined me through Reddit, then that's nice. We are averaging 6 to 7 listeners, so we're keeping it average. And I discovered all the comments that people left on Spotify the other day, because now there's a comments tab, and you can actually see what comments people have left. So I'm sorry that I haven't replied to all those comments that people left on Spotify. So I'm very disappointed. So now, if you leave a comment, I can actually see it. So if you could just let me know what you think of the new book and whether we should keep doing that or we need to change to a different style of book. Okay, I still have that dodgy Mills and Boons book that is based in like a Bridgerton style-esque era. So I've got that. Anyway, right, have we done 5 minutes yet? Let's have a look. I'm doing this on my phone again. 4 minutes. Oh yeah, go on then. Let's get on with some book. So hopefully people have skipped to a book. All right. Let's try this. So we got to a bit where stared deep into her wise brown eye. Not her brown eye, which makes this whole book a different kettle of fish. Because she's 14! Anyway, right. When they were taking their meal together later, Becky came back to the subject. Oh, they were taking their meal together. Where were they taking their meal to? That's the question. They're not explaining where they're taking their meal. If you're taking your meal, where are you taking it to or from? Why do you need to transport your meal? Is meals transportable? Well, obviously they are. Isn't that a picnic? Anyway, Jed, do you have to go on looking for those other men? I mean, Hearn chewed on his steak. Oh, he's got a steak. He's put his knife down on the oval plate. I see, very traditional, aren't they? With their round plate. Just the fact that they could have just put plate, but no, oval. Just so you're aware, but it's slightly round. Because it's important to know that a steak comes on an oval. Do steaks? I thought modern day steaks come on a bit of wood or on a chopping board kind of thing. Anyway, on a piece of slate. Why do restaurants do that? Why? Just we've had plates for hundreds and thousands of years. Just stick with plates. Becky, you know that I do. How could it always... Right, try that again. Becky, you know that I do. How could it be anyways else? Anyways else? Bad English. They killed your ma, didn't they? And they caused my Louise to take her own life. Do you expect me to let them get away with it now? Well... Becky looked sorrowful. No, I suppose I don't, yet. I don't know. If only there could be some way of finishing it for good and all. Why can't the law find these men? Hearn snorted. I wonder what he snorted. Bit cocaine. The law. Hell. This is my fight. I'm going to see it through to the finish. Oh, that's nice. Starts what he means to go on, doesn't he? Starts as he means to go on. But Jed, Louise, was so proud that you had laid your gun aside for her. Hearn flinched as though she had slapped him in the face. Well, she hadn't, but presumably they're discussing that. Then he stared at Becky so fierceless that she felt a sudden wave of fear run down her spine and along her legs. Oh, sorry, along her arms. Oh, I can't read today. There's a van's part right behind me as well. Look what good her peaceful ways have brought her. He almost spat the words out. Ding! As soon as I've got you taken care of, I'm heading south, and nothing and nobody's going to stop me. Your pa and me, we got 3 of those bastards, and that leaves 4 more. Oh, there were 7 of them then. Well, they're mine, and not even Whitney Coburn is going to keep me from them. Hold on, who was Whitney Coburn? He must have been from the first book, and obviously we're on the second book already because we couldn't be bothered to find the first book in the manky book pile. Book 1 wasn't there, I don't think, but you can get it on Amazon if you want to download it. Becky looked down at her plate and nodded her head weakly. Oh, right, sorry, we missed a bit. He stood up abruptly. Now you understand that, girl, and don't be questioning me again about what I'm doing. You won't change my mind for me. You hear? Becky looked down at her plate and nodded her head weakly. Not monthly. When you've finished eating, you can go up to your room and get your things together. She looked at him startled. Why? Where are we going? Hearn said slowly. We aren't going anywhere. Where you're going is Phoenix Academy for young ladies. I'm sure as hell ain't having you riding along with me. But Jed! She jumped to her feet and almost knocked the table over. As she did so, people began to look around and whisper. Right, I think people would have been looking around way before her knocking over the table, when Jed was being very strong. She jumped to her feet and almost knocked over the table. But Jed, she repeated, why can't I come with you? He reached out for her wrist and held it tightly. You know what happened earlier today? One of those bullets could have taken your life just like that. Anywhere I go now, there's going to be people gunning for me. And if you're there, then you're likely to get hurt. Besides, a girl would only hold me back and make me weak. Oh, he's so sexist, isn't he? Oh, look at those girls that shoot at the Olympics. They're brilliant. And yet he's going to go, oh, women can't shoot. Oh, well, I think they can. If I would be more worried if anyone had a gun, no matter what sex they were. and were wafting it around at me. I'd be more worried about the gun than the person. But, well, I'd be more worried about the person like shooting the gun. Oh, you know what I mean. Stop questioning me. You know, you won't change my mind. Anyway, right. I'd be worried about you all the time and not paying attention to what's happening to myself. You understand that? He gripped on her wrist. His grip on her wrist tightened as he had been speaking, and now the skin was white on either side of his hand. Becky's teeth were clenched in pain. Jed, you're hurting me. He stared at his own hand, then let go of her. Get packed, he ordered, then swung away on his heel and left the room. Swung away on his heel? Is he wearing high heels? Because that's how cowboys roll. He's wearing a lovely stiletto. There, and he's just... yeah. Anyway, the Phoenix Academy for Young Ladies was situated half a mile out of Phoenix itself in a large frame house, painted black and white and with a high veranda running along its front. Why do you get the feeling this is a bit dodgy? The name of the school was painted on a board which had been fixed to a veranda, and underneath it was the name of the proprietor and head mistress, Charlotte Owen. Oh, so that's nice. So private school then. It's off to private school. It was Miss Owen herself who greeted her and Becky at the door. Jed guessed that she was about 50 years of age, though her general appearance made her look older. What she's saying is she looks rough as fuck. She wore an ill-fitting black dress, high at the neck and low to the ground, so only the black tips of her shoes showed when she walked. Her hair had turned grey, but not to any shade of softness. It was the harshest grey of gunmetal. Right. So he's trying to paint a picture of her just being just a tough old bird. That's how we would describe her. She was rough as fuck. She looked quickly from her to Becky and back again. Her small eyes flickered like those of a nervy blackbird. I have never seen the eyes flicker on a blackbird that's nervy. How is a blackbird nervy? Is it like shaking, going, don't, don't, I'm nervy. I'm not. How is it nervy? I don't get that. How is it? I can understand it a bit skitty, and a bit not wanting to be around just in case. But nervy. It sounds like it's popping pills on the side to calm down. Very odd. Right. Well, Mr. Hearn, so this is your Rebecca. Not my Rebecca, Anne said. Explain the situation when I called before. I didn't think they had telephones. Surely it was all by post and by telegram. We're talking in days of westerns, and so how did he call her? I don't think the telephone was invented. Anyway, exactly so, Mr. Hearn, exactly so. She set her face in a smile, and allowed it to disappear as instantly as it had arrived. But you will be paying for the young lady's education, to say nothing of her board and lodgings. Hearn nodded agreement. He was anxious to leave the place and be on his way, and yet there was something very strange about the woman and her school which made him feel uneasy. Yeah, really, she's probably a dominatrix, and I dread to think what she's wearing under that outfit. Or maybe I want to know. He was anxious to leave the place, and yet there was something very strange about it. Your school seems very quiet, Miss Owen. There are a number of girls here, I guess. Again she fixed him with her smile. Exactly so, Mr. Hearn. Do come inside and inspect one of our classes at work. She turned and walked into a building, leaving Hearn a little alternative but to follow. This he did, but Becky close behind him and looking more and more unhappy by the minute. Miss Owen opened the first door, which she came to, and stood aside so that Hearn could walk past her. She stepped into a room, which was evidently a classroom. Well, that's because she just told him she was going to show him the classroom. Inside there was some 15 girls, who seemed to range in ages from 7 up to 17. They were all dressed in black like their headmistress, and they had their hair drawn back in a bun. As had her own. She didn't mention that earlier. They didn't mention about the bun, did they? Oh, I missed that. They wore white aprons over their dresses and sat mutely in 3 rows of desks. In front of them, writing books were open. Were opened out, and they seemed to be copying something from a large blackboard at the far end of the room. Writing books were opened out. Open and out? Or out and opened? Or out and opened should be the sentence. No, there was no sign of any teacher other than Miss Owen herself. Yet the girls were sitting, and obviously had been sitting in total silence. I see you're a keen believer in discipline, Miss Owen. Felt you needed to put a German accent on her. Herne observed. She smiled ickily, and he caught a glint of metal from one of her teeth. The disciplining of my girls is very dear to me, Mr. Herne. Very dear to me indeed. She looked across at Becky, who seemed distinctly uneasy. It is one aspect of the life of the school that I always attend to personally. Okay, she's a dominatrix. Herne walked outside and stood on the top step, eager to leave and prepare for his journey to Memphis. There was a quick rustling at his side, and he saw that Becky had run up to him. She caught hold of his arm and squeezed it tightly. "Take care, Jed, take care." Before Herne realised what she was doing, Becky lifted her face to his and kissed him lightly on his cheek. The horror! Then she turned and ran back into the school building. His last sight of the school, as he mounted his horse, was of a now slightly sinister figure of its headmistress standing in the front door through which Becky had run a moment before. Herne nudged the animal with his knees and headed back into Phoenix without a glance behind him. Oh, there we go. That was quite exciting, wasn't it? I just feel like there's so many questions. So it talks about Civil War. And yet, so telephones hadn't been invented. Had telephones been invented? Does anyone know the history of the telephone versus the Wild West? Because I don't know when this is meant to be after the Civil War. So maybe they did have telephones. But I don't know. I don't know when this was actually based. It doesn't say. Hold up, we hear the grinder in the background. Well, we're going to stop. Let's stop. I can't be bothered to read anymore. I've asked too many questions today. None of it was funny. Nothing made me chuckle. Maybe it's best I just read softcore porn and just laugh my head off at that. Because things like maybe I just don't find things funny anymore. Maybe I just don't know. I'm kind of lost, aren't I? I'm lost in this weird world of just random mumblings. I think that's the word we're looking for, mumblings. We haven't even made it. That far into the book. Only on page 15, and we're not even relatively into a chapter. We've got about 3.5 pages left of a chapter, and yet. Oh, I don't know. Do you know? You just don't know, do you? We'll keep reading it and see what it brings. See what it brings. You never know. But I'm being more entertained by the guys chopping breeze blocks. Well, it's actually paving. They're doing the edging around probably a parking area. We're putting paving in. Not paving. Cornerstones. I don't know what they are, but they're. But we can cut them up. Busy day for them. Right, I'm done. Well, have a nice day. Enjoy. And I will probably speak to you. Well, I won't speak to you because obviously I'm not speaking to you, am I? But we try and keep this podcast short because we kind of need to, don't we? Because everyone's got a concentration span and ours is very short. So anyway, have a nice day. See you now. Bye.